Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining our session today. Thank you, everyone who joined the translation, this live session, either via Facebook or YouTube or any other platform you're currently watching. Saying hi from Education USA Ukraine to everyone. My name is Dmytro Sokolyuk, and I'm happy to present our wonderful speaker today, who gave us a pleasure. Of today's session. Thank you so much for Mariyu Gapon. Mariyu Gapon is currently studying in the University of South Dakota and studying Bachelor of Science of Neuroscience Pre-Med. So today we'll talk about, Maria will talk about actually about her gap year, need-based and merit-based aid, cultural adaptation, and how your how first year of university looks like. So we'll have about an hour of time today with this live session. Dear participants, please feel free, if you have any questions during Maria's presentation, please feel free to write them in the chat. We'll have a Q&A session at the end, so Maria will be able to answer your questions. Yeah, that's about it. Maria, thank you so much for joining us today. We're very happy to have you, and please, the floor is yours.
Okay. So good evening, everyone. As Dmytro said, I study in the University of South Dakota. I am a Ukrainian student, and it is my second semester of neuroscience. Therefore, I have a lot to share. I have a lot to share about the institutions, about the process of application, because I know it can be complicated, and sometimes you just need to hear the steps. So please, if you do have some questions about how it looks like, ask them. I know it can be really confusing. I would like to start with just presenting my university. University of South Dakota is a public university in South Dakota in Midwest. We have about 10,000 students, and our town it's a small town, not really countryside of some larger one. So 80% of our town is actually students, which really shapes how people interact in this town. I would like to talk about several topics, which is gap year, enrollment process, registrations and documents, flights and check-ins, early essentials, and like things you would need, some advice, catches and warnings, cultural difference, and available resources. Also, I will talk a bit about your transfer options within the United States if you would be interested, because there's always a place for improvement, and you must keep that in mind. So, let's start with gap year, because it might be confusing to many students. You may take a gap year for several reasons. Personally, why I took it is because I applied to a lot of Ivy League universities, and my SATs weren't that good, right? Happens. And I was accepted to university that I was not, like, it was my green university, but still, I decided to try to go somewhere a little better, somewhere with more research opportunities, and mostly I worked on improving my SATs the whole year, which is a valid reason. I advised several advisors, yes, and they say different things if the gap year affects your chances or if it does not. Personally, for me, I received way more acceptance letters, even though like my score improvement was only like 60 points, I'd say. So yes, they will accept you if you take your gap year right after high school. You would have to explain it in a little essay, like 200 words. You can do that. Just write, yes, wanted to improve my scores, wanted to apply again to increase my options. And actually, it is really common for people in the last 5 years to take a gap year after high school, or even in between the years of college. They actually do that. So if you have some financial problems, you can do that as well. A quick note about SATs. So SATs can give you accommodations for the time. I personally did not have them, but I knew people who did. So if you know that you're going to need the accommodations for your SAT, please, please, please apply early. You cannot even imagine how early you need to apply, because it takes several months for them to just assess your emails. And personally, when I tried to reach out, they only accepted the physical letters and not the emails. So it's going to take you a lot of time. So some people might miss the deadlines just because of that. So really keep an eye, start with your accommodations like in summer. As I said, it does not necessarily decrease your acceptance chances, and studying in a different university can actually negatively affect your chances to get scholarships, because then you'll be considered a transfer student. So really do keep an eye on that, as they will literally ask where you studied and they will check it. And this also might be a problem during your visa check. It might be not. It really depends on the case. About maintaining competitiveness, so you do need to do something. So working is really nice, but it should be some job that is slightly connected to your research, to your field. So it can be also volunteering or publishing or doing courses. You really need to fill in this gap in your resume. So I think it is really important, because they do look at your resume. They do. And it will be important for you later when you apply for scholarships and programs within the university. Now about enrollment. Starting with the post-submission stage, when you have sent your Common App application and you might think that you're done, especially if you do not have some other experienced people or you do not have a personal mentor, you might think that is it. So you wait until the last day, upload it on like January 1st. I know, I've been there my first year. And then you find out that there's a whole second portal for each single university that you have to work on after you send your Common App application. And this can become an issue because the deadlines may not be so broad. Your universities will often require you to send SAT or ACT scores, like all the tests, specifically to them. So just uploading them would be not enough. You'd have to pay for those most of the times. They would take time to access. Same would be with your financial information, which you should also keep an eye on, because it's going to be winter. Most likely it's going to be some like holidays, right? So Christmas, second Christmas, New Year, Old New Year, whatever you celebrate, no one's really willing to do their job properly. So if you ask your banks to give you financial information, they would take a while. So please do not wait till the last minute. I know. Enrollment deadline may conflict between universities, especially between different countries. So when you do get accepted, obviously read your messages of acceptance message, I think. Admission letters carefully. So you do understand on what terms, like, do you get financial aid, how much you get it, till what year, because sometimes they give some aids for the duration of your whole bachelor's, and sometimes they give you those small rewards for 1 year. So you have to be careful with that. But if you decide to enroll, you might face an issue that different universities give you their decisions during different times. So if you apply some regular decision, right, regular action, and then you apply the roll-in admission to some university, like one may give you their decision 3 months after the other one. So please do ask them if your time is running out and you really, really, really need to get that letter. Like, do you have financial aid? Do you not? Please do text them. Say they might access you, but just keep an eye on it, because I personally lost an opportunity to go to one of the universities. I'm pretty sure it was University of Florida, I think. I don't regret it too much, but still, it just happens. Because I was waiting for my Canadian university application, McGill, and they sent my financial aid half a month after the Florida's university enrollment deadline passed. Be careful with that. Then about the enrollment, you will get your estimated costs, and they probably will differ. I have heard from some American students that they actually got them lower. I have never, not a single time have I heard it from an international students. So yours will probably be higher. So if ChatGPT tells you that they would not, they will. Be prepared for that. As to I-20, you might have heard about this form. This will be the form that will confirm that you was accepted. It will show you your tuition costs, and this will be the key to getting your visa. So you do have to request that. They might not just send it. You will need some financial documents, and I will talk about it a little later. Yes, registration and documents. You do have to fill in the housing forms, the insurance enrollments, the classes registrations, meal plans, and books should be bought too after being officially enrolled. So do not worry about that before. All those will require some fees, and you really have to keep an eye to not miss them. So please do monitor your portal, the university one. I think it is also worthy of mentioning that you might get a new one. So there is one for you as an applicant, and there's another one for you as a student. So yes, be careful with that. Do not mix those up, because you might see that you have no task whatsoever, but they're all just in a new portal. As soon as you get enrolled, you have to obviously fill in all those forms, because they also, like, some of them are required to get a visa for you, like they advise you to do so, but apply for a visa as soon as possible. The visa will consist of several steps, and you would have to get several documents. They mostly are all accessible online, so you can do this on your own laptop with some help, luckily with some help. One of those documents is CVIS ID, D160, and your I-20. So your I-20 will be sent by your university. I don't think I have access to that like right now, but it's just 2 pieces of paper and the name of your visa, F1, and some information. The rest 2 can be found online, and you would find them on the visa application steps on your university's website. Both of those will cost you money, so I would say total, the fees were like $300 something just to get all the documents and schedule my appointments at the visa center. So yes, do keep that in mind. The last step would have to be done in your local counseling. So I personally could not find the link in the application steps. I just Googled Poland, apply American visa, found it myself. You insert those documents, and yes, you're good to go. If you need help, try watching YouTube videos, maybe contacting an advisor, because those can be tricky. Now, something important, you might get some late enrollment, right? Because that happens, especially if you're applying rolling admission. They also have early action. You're good. Don't have to worry about anything but rolling admission, guys. So after going all that way, you would get to the choosing your date of the interview, and you would see that the only available one is like in a month, which is 2 weeks after your flight. Do not get worried. It is okay. It happens all the time. So in this case, you would have to register for your late date, and then immediately after you do that, on the same portal, just like you go to homepage, and you must fill the accelerated student request. It is fast, it is free, and they will accommodate you. Everyone says that, and yes, they did accommodate me really well, because they must accommodate their students so they can go to America. Therefore, they will reschedule it like exactly when you need it to be. So do not get worried about that. Then vaccination proof should be filled by your local hospital. This is something they also require. So if you do not have some digital record, because I personally didn't, you would need some creativity, as I only had my paper card, where Polish doctors do not really read in Ukrainian cursive, not like Ukrainian doctors could tell what was happening. So I had to actually go to Ukrainian hospital, like call where they have Ukrainian doctors. So I'm pretty sure there's a hospital in Warsaw, Krakow, and in Rzeszów. There must be one. I wish you luck. We had like 4 doctors trying to decipher it because it was written in Donetsk like 13 years ago. You're gonna have a minute. So yes, if you just wonder how in the world are you going to sign it, you can. Just don't go to an international doctor. They will not be able to do that unless you want to fake it. But still, you don't. Flights. Before I go to flights, a little more about the visa. So if any of you haven't gotten any international visas before, you go to the center, you wait in a line, you get a talon. You wait in another line, you get a talon. You wait in another line, you get a talon. You show them I-20, you get a talon. So it's like 3 hours approximately, and they say that there will be an interview. Mine personally was 4 questions, which is, are you Mariyu Gapon? Like, yes. Do you study neuroscience? Yes. Why did you choose University of South Dakota? Because of its research, neuroscience research capabilities, resources, yes, and also the cost is like my affordable university. Okay, when are you going? This month. Okay. Yes, these are the 4 questions that I had. You might have more complicated one depending on how suspicious your application is, but really do not stress too much about it. I was preparing for a whole interview to North Korea. No. They literally ask your name and where are you going. Once you have your visa, flights. By the way, it takes some time after the appointment, so they send you back your passport, so you will not have your passport. This might be a problem for some, but again, it's only if you have never gotten a visa before. Flights. Please do buy tickets as soon as possible. They get pricey really fast. And I know that you should not buy them before you get your visa. The chances you will get declined is like really small, but still, I personally did not risk it. And a little trick with flights is that you don't have to fly from your most recent town, because it will be much, much more cheaper for you to go to some, if you live in Europe, like not in Ukraine right now, but you're Ukrainian, it might be cheaper for you to go to Germany or to go to Slovakia and fly from there and save yourself like $300 by spending, $20, $50 on a bus. So please be flexible, even within the same country, different towns that you fly from, prices differ like drastically. So yeah. Baggage necessities. You would need some adapters because yes, the sockets are different. You will not be able to charge anything except maybe on a plane where they have those USB ports. Still, for a laptop, you definitely need one. Less winter clothes or shoes, less cheap and heavy items. So if you decide to bring a blanket, you can. I don't say you should, but you can. I only had one suitcase where I had to pack everything. So yes, I mostly prioritize things that I would actually use and some lighter clothes. Your medicine and their prescription. Do not forget your prescriptions, please. And a little note from my experience, maybe someone would find it useful. Musical instruments or non-standard carry-ons can be exchanged for small carry-on baggage at the airport. So instead of having 2 backpacks or like a backpack and a handbag, I had a violin in a backpack. They do accommodate it. It's fine. You can do that. You can bring your electric guitar if you want to. In case your weight slightly exceeds the limit, you will be charged a fee, but will be allowed to proceed unless it's some wild amount. So yes, if you don't want to pay, keep an eye on that. But if you really need that blanket, like there's no other option, it's going to the United States with you, there's a price. You can always access it. University may organize rides from the airport. So please do check that because my flight was late, like midnight. And I did not know that they organized rides. So I had to walk on myself, use the public transport, which I regret. The public transport in Chicago is not the place you want to be in at night during your first day in America. It's not. Please don't. So do check it. You will probably get a message from the International Center, or if you didn't, just write directly to them. Ask. Once you do arrive, if you arrive before like your actual study day or before Sunday, you would have to pay early arrival fees. I know a lot of international students do not like that, but this is the policy for a lot of universities. So if you arrive, let's say, on Friday, and your school starts on Monday, you would have to pay for the 2 nights that's like Friday, Saturday, and Saturday, Sunday. You can do that at your front desk, but just keep in mind, it should be about the same price as if you divide your living costs per each day. Checking in. So you arrive there, whether it's day or night. If it's night, it's going to be more complicated. But if it's day, you just go to the reception center or ideally to your international center. But you start with your dorm. You say, hi, hello. You show them your documents. They give you an ID, your card, and they will probably send you to the international center where you get your ID done. Like you get a temporary one. And you show them your I-20. It gets signed. Keep in mind you would have to sign it each semester, like you get a new one. So this is also something to keep in mind because they say that a lot of students forget it. So once they will tell it to you, please do remember. They say that they might not let you out of the country if it's an old version. I'm not sure if it's true. I just know that you need to get a new one. But please do bring your passport and I-20. Again, you'd have to fill some online documents. You can do that on your phone. You can connect your phone to the university Wi-Fi, so it's okay if you don't have any mobile data. And yes, once you're signed in, you can go and explore some of the university, go for a walk, and wait till the orientation events start. Actively track your new school's email and attend all orientation events. Yes, that is true. Email will be your savior. Watch it. Early essentials. So personally in my town, we only have 2 large stores, and both are outside of the town. It's Walmart and Hy-Vee. So it was a little problematic to go there without a car, but since it was summer, yes, I could do that in a couple of days. You will probably need a United States number. I don't see many people talking about it, but personally, where I'm from, like in South Dakota, every single international student has a problem where they put their European SIM card, where they put their American SIM card in a European phone, and it does not work. It just doesn't. Everyone tries to fix it. No one can. Literally everyone. So the only solution that we found is buying an American phone. So yes, you can also add that to your expenses, because I tried to reset my phone, but I could not do that in my town, unfortunately. Yes, and iPhones here are cheaper, so you'd probably get that. I'm not a fan of those, but they are definitely cheaper. Some kitchenware, pan, pot, fork, knife, spoon, and a bowl, and a glass. This is all you need. This is all I had for my first half a year. You would probably be able to borrow some stuff from your reception in your dorm. So, yes, this is manageable. You do not need much. You'll be able to get a pot or a blender at your reception. American type chargers is just for convenience. My adapters were huge. Bed sheets, pillows, and blankets. Yes, I want to stress on that because I arrived at night and they did not have any. And I also didn't have an opportunity to go to Walmart. So my lifesaver was the plain blanket, the one you get on the international flights. Yes. So It was my everything. Backpack under the head and a plain blanket. So yeah, you would have to buy those. Actually, my American neighbors gifted me those. That's how I started a friendship. I said that, oh my God, we can't even bring anything, and I can go to Walmart right now. Like, okay, don't worry. And they gifted me that. So isn't that beautiful? Shampoo, dish soaps, shower flip-flops, basic essentials. You might not get them because we, for example, do not get dish soaps in our dorms. There's always that one nice person that buys it. You might not have that person. Just expect it. And some basic furniture, but it just depends on your budget and on what you want. So some early advice, please do find friends. They might have information that you do not. You will feel really lost if it's your first time and if you did not have a mentor. So if you're a lone wolf applying to United States, yes, you would need to talk to another international students. It is really confusing. Also, if your name has some catches, like for example, mine has 2 I's, it's always a problem because they always write my name down incorrectly into the system, so you would not get half the emails. This happens to a lot of international students, surprisingly. So, yes. Don't worry. The cultural shock, it will pass. You will get adapted. Attend events. They might seem boring, but they will help you stand on your feet and not miss important steps. Yes, they will. They will. So that orientation that takes 3 hours, that's taken in some, I don't know, sports club, go there. They might not even have food. You still have to go. Ask your questions. Documents and emails get lost, so do not be afraid to send them several times because you really need that information. You really do. You would have some advisors that you can talk to if you are not sure on where you're going and what to do. So advisors and your international friends are going to help you a lot. Oh, and where to find your international friends? Mostly cafeteria. That's where you find them. Now I'm going to talk about some catches that I personally saw, met, experienced. So I want to warn you, you're going to have to pay extra fees in every single step. You've probably heard it. It is true. So visa fees, international payment fees, lofted bed fees for each semester. Why? Class registration fees, class dropping out fees, a lot of fees. Credit system. You're charged per credit. So the more credits you take, the larger the bill. I somehow... See, sometimes you miss information. I somehow forgot it or did not think about it. So I took 18 credits during my first semester because I wanted to have some free time for a job during my second. And I saw my bill skyrocketing. I was not expecting that. That was way over my estimate. I contacted my advisor. She said, yeah, because you took 18 credits. So yes, you're charged per credit and your F1, your I-20, right? The visa document is listing the expected. So when you find your expected credits, like courses for your major, yes, this is what it's calculating for. So if it says you're going to have like 13 or 15 during your first year, like it's expected that you do. So don't take 20. It's not allowed, and it's really expensive. You might request a compensated withdrawal, but it is not guaranteed. So yeah, I did have to cancel my classes. You can do that. There's a date before which you can do that for free. But if you have some issue, if you messed up like me, you just file a request and they will probably accommodate you. They did. So just be chill. There's always a place to negotiate things. Ask your advisor. You'll have several probably. So your international one is mostly for your documents that are connected to not your country. And if you talk about like your credits, the things that happen inside the university, yes, go to your local one. Classes can conflict with each other. So the schedule you might get from the university website might say that you have physics, calculus, neuroscience, and chemistry, right? So you want to register for those. and you have to register beforehand, so they did not do that themselves. I registered like 2 days before because the system was down. I was really lucky to have the system down both times when I scheduled an appointment. You still can get scheduled even like a day before still, so do not worry. But some classes might conflict. Like I had physics, neuroscience, and maths at the same time, even though they were in the schedule. So yeah, you would need some flexibility, and your actual schedule might differ a lot from what's written on the page. It is fine. You will still probably be able to get all the courses. It just needs a little puzzle solving. Job opportunities for international students are limited. Yes, they are. You would face a lot of competition from international students and from American work and study students. Like they are prioritized. There are certain positions on each university where international students are more expected. So ask about those. Go to your opportunity center, career design center. American universities have a lot of centers, so if you have any problem, there's probably a center for it. Yeah. But please do expect a lot of competition. If you really need that job, please start looking for it before you even go to America. They usually have those apps or websites that are online, so you do not need to actually show up to apply. It will be challenging to find a job mid-semester, obviously, because all the positions are taken and no one wants to give up their spot. And expect minimum wage for most of the on-campus jobs. In my state, for example, it's like 11 something dollars. This is what you're going to get. No more, no less. Then, campuses might close during breaks, which I personally did not know about before I went to the United States. So dining halls in certain campus living facilities may be closed or will require a nightly fee ranging from $10 to $30 per night. Really depends on your university. So actually, for example, your winter trip, after calculating how much it would cost for me to buy myself food, go to Walmart, and pay for rent, this was more than for buying a ticket to go back to Poland. I did get lucky with the tickets though, so expect that. So it might be more efficient for you to actually go back home, even though you think that, no, I don't have money for that. You might, considering how expensive living is, you might as well go home and live with your parents or with your siblings, with your friends somewhere. So I personally went for the Christmas break to Poland, found myself some job because it's really complicated to get one here, worked there, spent a wonderful Christmas. You study more by yourself than during lectures. So some people say it's for each 1 hour in class, you spend 2 hours studying outside. This might be true for some more complicated courses, but for your first bachelor's year, probably not. Like, if you're good at high school, in Ukrainian high school, you got it. Don't worry. I was. No need. So, but I would say like hour to an hour is fine. So if you get 3 hours of lectures, for example, on Wednesday, do expect to study for like at least 2 or 3. You do need to do homework. Plenty of sources outside Uniportal. Yes, also might be confusing your first several days, but professors post things and give assignments wherever they want. You just have to really listen to what they say on their introductory lecture. Not having a car might become a struggle. Yes, it is difficult. It is difficult sometimes, especially in Midwest, I'd say, because the distances are really large and we don't have a single grocery store. So you do need friends, guys. This is another good side about having them. Some programs might not work for you as an international student. I think it's rather logical to assume that, but if you decide to become part of some organization or sign up for some transfer student exchange, they might not give the same scholarships or opportunities to international students. That's just how it is. Cultural differences. I'm going to show you some basic ones. So everything will be a little different. Like the ACs, the bathrooms, the public transport, the measurements of everything. Every single thing is going to be a little off. So do expect that. Food will be very different. They are right. Very different. And surprisingly stereotypical. It's probably better in some more expensive universities, but in mine, it's literally just pizza and burgers and fries. Like, come on, guys, come on. Everything has a lot of sugar. Walmart has I have not seen so many snacks a single time in my life. And I've had problem looking for grains. Yes, this is a big cultural difference for me because when I think of a meal, I think about a piece of meat, some vegetables, and grains. They do not eat grains at all. None of them. All you might find is some rice and beans, but that's it. So talk to your rich international friends who sometimes bring food, because I've had a lot of Mongolians who would bring stuff that I like гречка, самсу, манти, Yes, you can rely on that, but it's going to be difficult. Public transport is not the same. You might not have public transport at all. So you cannot just hop on a train unless you're in New York. I think you can. But here in Midwest, no. And the buses, oh yeah, I used the public bus at night in Chicago. I do not recommend being there. If you have money for a taxi, please buy a taxi. It's worthy. Mentality difference. I'd say Americans are a little different with their gestures, with the way they speak. Everyone will say hi to you. Everyone will nod at you and wink at you. It's okay. You get used to it. Just try to answer with the same attitude. It's their way of being nice. Then sororities and fraternities. Somehow I missed that piece of public media. They do have them. If you're bored, go there. Some of them have purposes. So they do charity, or they have a topic of mental health, and they own some club. But mostly it's just trap houses. So if you like them, you can go there. I'm personally not the type, but this is a lovely opportunity for you to have that American college life that you saw in the movies. Available resources. You have advisors, you have counselors. Basically, counselors are therapists, which, yeah, I did not expect them to have those on the university. But yes, you'll probably have a whole counseling center, especially if you have liberal arts and sciences university. You will have it. And you can get a lot of things for free from there. So you would have your group leaders. At least they put us in those little groups with people who are experienced. So they would tell us all the information. You can contact your professors because, yes, they also know how university works. They probably also were an international student at some point. And go to your opportunity center. Do talk about what you have, because there's so many things on campus that you might not know about. There's a lot. And my last slide is about transferring options. So do not be afraid to make a mistake. If you think it doesn't work for you or that you want something better, try transferring. It does affect your scholarship ability, so you would probably not get $1 billion from Harvard. You might, because actually some universities focus on transfer students and they accept way more transfer students, ratio-wise, obviously. There's just a higher chance that you would get accepted. If you transfer. You have to keep an eye on that. It's going to be difficult as an international student. You may consider graduate programs or especially med schools outside of the US due to their cost. However, you can still return for your PhD afterwards. So there's always this balance between cost and efficiency. If you go to med school, it's going to be really difficult for you in America, but PhD and master degrees are way easier to get into. So if you really need that American part of your education, you don't have to complete everything in the same country if you struggle financially. So I'm just letting you know that you do have options and you can try. Like, no one is stopping you. And your professors, some of them will actually aid you. Like, they will actually fill in your applications and give you recommendations. So most of the people are very understanding of that. So yeah, Ivy League, you can always try, you know. You have 4 years of bachelor's. You have 4 years to apply. 8 opportunities, because you can also do like spring semesters, fall semesters. The stage is yours. And I would say that, yep, that is it. There's my contact information. So if you want to talk to me personally about applications and how it looks like, I'm actually willing to help you. Like, please feel free to text me, and we can arrange like maybe a chat or just talk via email. I will try to accommodate you as much as I can.
Maria, thank you so much for your wonderful presentation. I especially appreciate the specificity and, I mean, how particular you talked about each aspect from a practical perspective of a student who lived this experience. It was incredibly precise about each step you presented, and I appreciate it personally, and I hope everyone who is joining our live stream today and or watching this recording and considering applying or already waiting for maybe acceptance letter, or in the future waiting for visa and started to worrying about the first year in the US. So thank you for that, like the process from the gap year, covering all the steps to the transfer options. I especially appreciate that you're saying use of public transport can be a little sketchy at night. So please, dear students, if you're in the United States in the future, your safety is obviously a priority. So consider safe travels, especially during your first year, since you don't know the city very well where you live in, or you don't know a lot of people around. Please stay safe. Yeah.
And if you have to walk, please, before you walk, Google like your town's ghettos, because this was the sketchy situation that I got myself into. Like, just me in the middle of the ghetto in Chicago. Don't get yourself in that situation, please. Check your route. Google Maps does not know what it's talking about. It doesn't. Do not trust it.
Yeah, thank you. It will definitely, I believe every student who watched it will change the routes the moment they step in such situation. It will definitely save them from any disturbance. Thank you so much. I have one question that students regularly ask us on our cohort programs that you covered a little bit at first. I just want to specify a little. So since about the gap year, since a lot of students consider gap year probably to improve their portfolio or maybe work on their activities or personal presentation skills, some parents or legal guardians' concern is that students are skipping a year, and the right path for most of the families, or at least some portion of the families that attend our programs and similar programs, or just generally wondering about the education in the US, are concerned about the fact of the gap year. So could you please advise a student how would they approach a conversation with a parent or a legal guardian or responsible adult who are confused about such option?
Okay, so because I was mostly the one leading my application, my parents were just sometimes paying for my fees. So they're like, okay, did you apply to US yet? I was like, Mom, I got accepted. Like, oh yeah, congrats. I did not have that conversation personally, really. But you do have to explain. First of all, I'd say show some statistics, like start with a proof that it is wrong. Because I had some statistics on my first slide where it showed that the amount of students taking a gap year is drastically increasing. It was actually popular in last century too. So it's a cultural thing. Yes, and second thing, it's a cultural thing. It is considered totally okay for students to take a gap year and be busy with something else. So, let me just try to form it really well so it can be a worthy argument. You can start with the fact that since you're Ukrainian, you probably finished 11 years of school, unless you have some IB program that's extra year. and you're probably younger than an average American student. So I was really afraid about skipping a year and being older, but actually I'm really young. I'm the youngest person I've met so far. So you do not skip that time, and they would not feel really suspicious about your age. So it is okay to apply to university during different times. Second is you do get accepted. Like, it is just statistics. They really look at your resume more than they do at your gap year. And I'm pretty sure you can find more data supporting it, but it is true. I've met a lot of people. They really care about your resumes and your grades. So if you need to improve your SAT, yes, your SAT will give you way more scholarship. So this is what interests the parents, right? Tell them that once you get your SATs fixed, once you get your volunteering, once you publish your article, you will get way more aid, because SATs actually do work like that. Like, you need to be in different segments to get more aid. So this is nice for you to take a gap year, and for your parents' wallet. Right. And then just talk about the culture, the way that Americans are way more at ease with that. So some people take gap years in between the years so they can go work. Some people take gap years just so they can figure out who they want to be. It is fine. Literally, I have never heard anyone here saying that gap year affected their application negatively. All they say is that, yeah, I actually got way more offers. And it is true. I got like 6 times more offers. Yeah, I did accept it to only one university, so the ratio is a little flawed, but yes, it doesn't affect, like, really. Because you do something. If you don't do anything, then yeah, if you just want to sit there, please don't. At least become part of something. It really is efficient, and there's a lot of data to back you up.
Thank you so much for your elaborate response. I hope it will help a lot of students who are considering talking to their parents and considering a gap year. Please use the information Maria provided from her perspective, and also look into our other videos on YouTube about the live streams we had previously that also cover a topic of cultural differences. And that the next question I want to ask you about, you've covered the cultural differences in some aspects. I want to just mention the one that in Ukraine, usually students used to direct communication with teachers and classmates about. With Ukrainians, somewhat are direct people. So we're saying, for example, like, do this or give me.
Yes.
And it's something you learn during like English and maybe speaking with native speakers. But what is it difficult to you to adjust this constant cultural different wording and understanding? And what would be your advice for a student to be mentally prepared for this change?
Okay, I would say that my gap year actually gave me an opportunity to get used to that more, because I've had experiences talking in English, so that English structure of hello, excuse me, like, dear professor, it just becomes automatic. It's just a language thing. So if you text a lot via email, and I was personally publishing an article, so I had to communicate a lot with my editors, it just became a habit. But please do keep in mind that your professors, especially the ones that are older, the younger ones, they do not care. Our young professors are like, yeah, call me Jake. Okay, so you don't need to worry about the younger ones, but the older ones, just Google the structure of the email, and when you talk, try to somewhat stick with it. Americans really, really, really love that sandwich structure. So something positive, your concern, something positive. They do use it all the time. So whenever you critique some culturally, you're expected to say something nice. Yes, used to it most. Even though I'm not a fan of this culture, you just have to adapt so you are not seen as rude. I have not seen, I don't really have many Slavic students. I think I haven't seen a single one so far. But North Asians do have this problem. and it's just training yourself. You will get used to it in a month or two, I think. Talk to people as if you're writing them an email. American email.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for sharing your experience. I don't see any messages from our participants in chat. We had some thank yous from our student who registered and joined and listened to the session. I believe many more will watch it in recording and use this information. Please feel free also to contact Maria, as she mentioned, if she'll be able to and have time and resources to help you. Maria, please let us know if it's still up, right?
Yeah,
So
I am available. I do have time. As I said, after having all 12s in Ukrainian high school, I have a lot of free time here. I cannot get a job, so I can assist you guys.
Thank you so much for your generous offer of considering helping a student. Yes, please, students, if you have maybe some questions that might arise from what Maria said or from our resources, please feel free to follow up with Maria or write us a letter. We'll be also greatly glad to help you. So the last thing I want to ask you, could you please say some maybe inspiration for or a guidance for students who are considering USA and they're maybe submitted an application or just considering certain universities on different stages? What would be your guidance on the future in America?
My guidance is put effort and your dreams will come true. It takes a lot of effort, but you must know that you can do it. So there's really small portion of people who even decide to apply. There's a really small portion of people who proceed through because, as I said, sometimes you fill in your Common App application and you're kind of done, so you don't put much effort into anything that comes afterwards. Please do. Please try. If you really want that, apply again. Take a gap year. Transfer. Get some other application. Consider different states. I don't know. Like, there's always something. There are always programs that will be looking for you. It just depends on how much effort you're willing to put in, really.
Thank you so much for your inspiration. Dear participants, unfortunately, our time is running, so we have little to no time anymore. But thank you everyone who joined live, and thank you everyone who is going to watch recording. Please feel free to monitor US EducationUSA resources and contact us if you need any assistance or help with the application process. We're always gladly help you, and we're always happy to help you. Mariyu Gapon with us from University of South Dakota. Maria, thanks once again for joining us today and sharing your experience. We'll gladly stay in touch with you too. Please have a wonderful rest of your day, and everyone in Ukraine have a wonderful rest of your evening. Goodbye, everyone. See you later.
Yep, that's a pleasure too. Chase your dreams.